I've been building my coaching business for 5.5 years, and I wanted to share with you the top 5 lessons that come to mind when I think about this 5 years of building. I get questions all the time about how I passed my certification exam and different things like that, how I manage the operations of the business. And I'd love to talk about those things, but these are the 5 lessons that really stand out to me when I reflect on those first 5 years. So number one is to set long-term goals with short-term steps. And for me, this was really essential to keep going for 5 years. I actually was trained initially with a number of coaches who are no longer coaching, either because they thought, something else was a better fit, or maybe there was a lot of discouragement with the beginning stages of the coaching journey. Some really found that the business aspect was not what they were looking for. They loved the work of it, but not running the business. And honestly, I feel that way a lot of times too. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to build a business of any type. But with coaching, I found it really useful to set long-term goals, like hanging in there for 5 years, being consistent, doing the things I was doing to build it. So continuing to reach out to new leads, consistently asking my contacts to, recommend me to friends, or let me know of problems that their associates were having that I could potentially solve, things like that. But continuing those practices for 5 years, I made a commitment to myself to do that at the start, just to see where it could go. I figure after 5 years, I'll probably have a really good sense of whether this is a business that I want to run. This is a business that I have the skills and the capability to run, and whether it's something that I'm really interested in, that I truly find fulfilling, or if it was simply something that was good for me for a brief time. And in my experience, these 5 years, I found that I love it. I love the work. I love the business running aspects of the work as well. It certainly is challenging, and I've had to lean on resources, people who I know who have been in business for longer than I have, coaches who have been at it for longer, but also coaches who are new. It's been so enriching to have conversations with coaches who are just starting out, to kind of refresh my memory and really get a chance to reflect on and think about what are the things that made it worth doing in the beginning and until now. So long-term goals with short-term steps. That was a really helpful lesson for me as I reflect on these 5 years. The long-term goal primarily being to stick with it for 5 years. And the short-term steps were all of those methods that I use to get there, like my 20 for 20 coaching sessions, which is where I offer a couple times a year 20-minute sessions for $20, and introduce people to coaching who've never done it before, or ask, for people to purchase sessions for people they know. It's a really great opportunity, and people expect that it's coming. So even if they're like on the fence about getting regularly scheduled sessions for themselves, they might check it out during that 20 for 20 season. And that, plus asking for reviews, plus asking for referrals, plus being online, not constantly, but consistently online with Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all these things. All of those short-term steps support my long-term goal of sticking with it for 5 years. And now I don't see an end in sight because things are going well. So another lesson number 2 that I've found over these years is to communicate consistently. And I was just talking about some of the ways that I do that, but in addition to having those 20 for 20 sessions, being on social medias, on social media, I'm also communicating consistently with my current clients, and past clients. So not bugging them all the time by, reaching out, I don't know, many times in a month, although if that's your thing, that's all right. But communicating consistently for me looks more like 1 or 2 newsletters a month, taking some months off because that's practical for me. Being in their lives to some extent, having an eye on their social media pages and having an eye on major events that are happening in their lives, making sure I reach out and say happy birthday when that feels appropriate, or whatever the case may be. But building my private practice has been building relationships, and not just for the sake of eventually making money off of these people, but to really truly walk alongside them, whether we're actively in a coaching episode or not. And that has been a real help to stay in communication consistently, just because then those relationships are solid. And when they need support, they know where to find me, they know how to reach me, and they know that they can count on me. That's what I'd like to develop. Okay, so a third lesson that I've learned is to practice more than you prove. And for me, that means I'm consistently looking for opportunities to hone my skills, but I'm not necessarily getting every certification that's available to me as a coach. So, like, I know that some coaches have another approach to this where there are a number of different types of certifications you can get, like as a coach, coaching certifications with this program or that program. But then there are also a lot of like smaller courses that you can take and get certified as this type of coach or that type of coach. And I think that all of that holds value in its way. And for me, my focus has had to be on, instead of getting as many certifications or proofs that I know what I'm talking about, instead of doing that, it's been on practicing and honing my skills. So what I've found in doing that is I notice where I specialize. I notice and learn things about myself by getting out there and practicing. Even at the beginning, where I had practice clients who I was working with for free or for very little money, I was able to learn what's interesting to me and what my approach naturally is as a coach, so that I was able to kind of go with my own flow instead of trying to prove that I can do coaching, by someone's standard or in the way that's popular in the world. I hope that makes sense. So practicing more than I prove, and learning about myself in the process. Now, I did originally attend an ICF certified, ICF accredited coach training course, and I did their like initial wellness coaching, and then I did their advanced level 2.0 coaching, and I could have tested through the ICF to be certified. I chose not to, actually, on the advice of a mentor who had been coaching for over 20 years at that point, because she said, it's not really necessary to be certified in this way to start to build your business. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to build my business and eventually, have the certifications to back me up. And so I just started out those first few years pursuing clients, sticking to the training. And then eventually I got another course that allowed me to be certified for the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaching, that certification, which felt a little bit more aligned for my interests. And I really appreciate the thorough way that they prepare and then test their coaches, but also without what feel like maybe too many hoops to jump through. It's very straightforward, and I appreciate that. So yes, practicing was more important to me than proving my worth and my ability as a coach. And I think that served me well. I didn't have to focus on, finding the next course and spending all the money to prove that I can do this. The proof was in the work itself. And now I feel very confident to work with a client of any background, and confident also that I'm prepared to communicate with that client about considering therapy or considering some kind of treatment if I see that that's a need. But I feel very comfortable, because I've been able to practice with people from a variety of experiences and with a variety of goals for coaching, instead of my confidence coming from having been through a course, specific to a topic that then allows me to speak with authority on that topic. That's all good. But I think that for me, it felt like a much more natural approach to building confidence to practice more than I was proving at the time. So my fourth lesson is to plant many seeds. And I love that seed planting analogy, sowing analogy, and harvesting. Um, those are some of my favorite sort of mental pictures. But planting many seeds. So rather than saying, I'm going to be a coach who only ever takes clients who just find me on the internet or get referred to me by whomever, um, or I'm going to pay for ads and this is how I'll find new clients, or, finding one lane. I just wanted to kind of plant many seeds in different places. So I've done all sorts of things that haven't panned out, but I've learned so much from those experiences. Some examples are like working with an apartment complex that was serving, higher income residents, um, seeking a partnership with them to offer like meditation classes and health and wellness classes and different things like that, like through their gym, in addition to their yoga and their fitness classes that they were offering. We had some talks that didn't pan out, but the seeds were sown. I actually did end up working with some of the residents from that building, but not partnering with the company that manages the building. Another apartment complex, I did offer like a speed coaching session. So people were able to sign up in advance, and I gave them like 2 hours of my time basically. They did pay me for the whole chunk of time that I was there, which was really nice as well. But we did speed coaching, so like 20-minute sessions. And I made some really good connections there. Some of those clients continued to work with me after that, and that was a pretty fun opportunity. So different types of seeds, having a variety of plants in your garden, so to speak. And then I do my own 20 for 20 sessions a couple times a year. I feel like that's always seed planting. I do workshops, and I'm preparing to launch some online courses. Being on YouTube, being on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even though I don't spend a lot of time there, so you might not notice that I'm like, I don't know, liking all the photos or sending all the messages. I don't spend a lot of time there, and that's, better for my life. But I do pop in every once in a while and drop some content and say hello and check on people. But planting seeds and thinking of it like that, so it's not like, oh, I thought I was going to do this and this is how I would build my business and it didn't work, so I guess I can't build my business. It's just do all the things. Do all the things in a sustainable way, whenever you have the energy and the capacity to do so. So my fifth lesson is to intentionally design your outcome. And for me, the outcome wasn't to just make a lot of money or, have a successful coaching business, whatever that means. It was specifically to be able to do fulfilling work that I enjoy and that allows me the flexibility to spend time with my family and in my home in the ways that I want. So it's really about setting me up to be able to be home, be present. And although I'm not home right now, and I actually rent an office these days, and I work from the office most of the time while my daughter's at school and my husband's working from home. But the office has a ton of great resources. So like, even if I wanted to work at home all the time, I would still maintain this membership. Shout out to Industrious. So yeah, intentionally designing my outcome meant I can choose which days to block on my calendar and be home. So when my daughter has days off school, most of the time I'm off with her. If she has a doctor appointment, most of the time I'm going to be able to take her, unless I choose not to. And that happened last weekend, this week actually. So, but there's flexibility, and I get to be done with work at 3:00 and pick her up at 3:30 from school and walk her home and spend time with her. And sometimes I take more sessions in the evening or have other meetings in the evening, but I get to choose the flexibility of that schedule without, losing the quality of my services or anything. It serves me. It serves me and it serves my family, and it's life-giving. And that was the outcome that I wanted to intentionally design for myself. And that's what we're doing. That's why 5.5 years in, it's still working for me. So I'm grateful that you joined me for this little chat. I hope that if you have questions or have an idea for another video for me to chat with you about, please, let me know. Send me a note, send me a chat message. But I just want to share my experience. I'd love to hear yours. So if you happen to have a link to a video of your own with similar content, I would love to watch it and learn from you and your experience. But it has been a really beneficial 5 years of business. I'm still learning so much all of the time. So I look forward to sharing more as I go. And I hope these 5 lessons are useful to you.